right, let's unpack what's going to be the economic and business week ahead. Always good to have economist Joseph Busha, who's always very kind to come in and join us this week. So unemployment rate is out this week. Joseph, good to have you on the show. Is it going to get worse, or are we going to suddenly see some light at the end of the tunnel? Morning.
The last print was better. It was came at 33 from 34. So I think there's a little bit of optimism coming through, given the fact that the economy has been opening up. But I think, if we look in terms of the expanded unemployment rate, is sitting at about 45. That means people have basically given up looking for jobs because there isn't any opportunities for them. But there has been a little bit of an improvement. But we hope that, with the challenges we're having in terms of electricity and other, that won't really, kind of slow down the rate of people being hired at workplaces.
I mean, if you had to try, I imagine you can't, it's too difficult to do. If you had to try and put a number on the damage these blackouts are causing, because you say people have stopped looking for work, there's employment apathy, they're no longer able to find work at all. And I imagine a lot of that's got to do with businesses, small businesses, SMMEs, having to let people go because of the blackouts, for example. They're not making money, they can't hire staff, they can't pay staff.
Remember from the COVID era, there are a lot of small businesses, in particular restaurants, that never opened. I know one in North Riding, that didn't open at all because of the closure in terms of, the COVID-19. So certainly, I think there's a lot of pressure that is coming through. But I think earlier on, we were just talking about construction picking up again. I think a lot of home improvements coming through. So you might get a little bit of do-it-yourself kind of jobs, your handyman coming through. But certainly, I think in terms of formal employment, the challenge is still there, given, as we said, that, what's happening with Eskom, because companies are not able to produce at maximum, at critical levels, and hence, they're not employing as much as they should.
The construction you were talking about, Joseph and I were talking off air. I was away for a couple of weeks down. Part of it was down on the south coast of KZN, and the amount of construction that I've seen going up there, whether it's shopping centres, apartment blocks, I think in the next couple of years, I think there could be a bit of a boom down on the south coast. But construction's always one of your indicators about the growth of an area. Speaking about the growth of areas, Black Friday, how much growth did we see, do you think, in retailers' pockets, i.e. irresponsible consumers, but very, very happy retailers, I'm sure?
So I think I've got a little bit of some comments from people. Some people are saying, well, it's not really Black Friday anymore. So the discounts they were looking for did not really come. But also what has happened is that people are now, or retailers are start putting, 3 weeks ahead to say, this is Black Friday discounts. So they're starting, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the actual, Black Friday, which is 25 November. Some people or consumers and shoppers were disappointed because they didn't really see big discounts. But certainly, I think it's still a madhouse where people rush into the shops, try to just pick one or two things. But I think, we'll be able to measure that possibly in the first quarter of next year when companies or retailers start reporting in terms of the number of traffic fit that visit their shops.
What did you buy?
Nothing. I went to play sports. I went to play golf.
You went to go play golf. Maybe you got a discount for a round of golf on the Friday. All right, Joseph, let's talk, let's kick the tin a little bit further down the road. PMI numbers coming out, I think it's this Thursday.
Yes.
Coming out. That's always a good indicator of factory activity.
Yeah.
And that's such a good indicator, not just to what we spoke about earlier with employment numbers, but manufacturing numbers as well. What are we expecting?
There's been a global pickup, and I think if you look into South Africa, there was a pickup as well. I think the last recorded number was 55, and there is an indication that there has been improvement in terms of PMI numbers. So you might be looking possibly gravitating towards 60 points in terms of the PMI number. Remember that anything above 50 is considered to be good, where basically the factories are producing more than previously. So I think there is some positivity there. But I guess, as we said, the rollouts, which we continue to talk about every single time, continue to hamper development and optimism and just basically economic activity, because getting twice electricity blackouts a day is not very good. It's very disruptive from a planning perspective, although we get told, in terms of when the electricity is going away.
Yeah, it's all to do with the blackouts at the moment. Currently stage 1, going to stage 2 again later. And as you say, Joseph, not much good when it comes to manufacturing and factory activity as well. We'll have to wait for Thursday, I guess, to see what it looks like. Joseph, wonderful to have you in with us as always. Economist Joseph Busha is taking a look at the week ahead. Of course, PMI numbers out on Thursday, and we'll have to wait a little bit longer to see what happens with the Black Friday spending. We're going to feel that knock-on effect for the retail sector only later in the year, early